it's Jo here, founder of Freckles, and today I want to talk to you all about references. Now, in most positions, you won't be able to start until the future employer or agency has got and checked 3 references. So it really is in your best interest to keep your referees on side, keep them up to date with how you're getting on, and that makes them all the more inclined to respond quickly so you can start the job faster. As one of your 3 references, you do need to be stating your former or current employer, and that's because if we're not seeing them, so if I've gone through your CV and it says you used to work for the Cooper family and they're not down as a reference, I'm going to be going, why not? What's happened there? Why don't they want to provide a reference? Or typically speaking, they're going to need to be an employer or someone you've worked alongside. It is sometimes we ask for character references because if you've worked in a nursery or school, sometimes they only disclose factual information. So for example, they'll confirm the dates you worked, how many days you had off sick, whether there are any disciplinaries against you, that kind of stuff, but they might not give us kind of an idea of you as an individual. So for that, we might then go and look for a colleague that you worked alongside, some parent that you've been a tutor of their children, someone you babysat for. So we're going to try and bring in other references to give us more of an impression. So the first thing, make sure you've asked them to be your reference. So you've kind of sent them an email and said, please will be my referee. I'm applying for a new position. Is it all right if I put you down? Now, it's very unlikely someone's going to say no, but it's just polite and common courtesy. If you are currently employed and you haven't yet given your notice in, you can still put them down as a reference, but then as soon as you have been offered a position subject to references, go back to your current employer and say, I'm handing my notice in and please make me a referee for me. The next thing to do is it's really polite if you give them a heads up that we're going to get in touch. So you might have popped them down as a reference and then we won't be contacting them for 8 weeks by the time you've got through to that stage, let's say. So it's polite to just send them a message and say, I've been offered a position subject to references, they'll be getting in touch with you. You also want to think about getting a broad range of references, so former employers, people you worked alongside, that kind of thing, so people can see, the employer can see you from sort of all angles. Another thing that commonly happens in nannying is that you finish an employment and you automatically ask your employer to provide a written reference for you. That is fantastic. I strongly recommend that. So when you finish a position, get them to write a reference for you. Sometimes they're really busy and they won't do it unless it's coming from kind of someone formal, but it's really worth trying to gather and you can build up your file. Now, it's all well and good you sending those over to me and saying, oh, here we go, I've got 5 written references to my previous nannying jobs. That is fantastic, but I'm going to have to verbally verify those. So I still will be reaching out to those referees and saying, you provided a reference for Sophie in 2015. I just want to clarify that everything you wrote down was all right. You had no concerns at any point, etc. Because if I take what you're telling me at face value, that if you were not a decent human being, you might have written that yourself and made up this beautiful glowing reference. Yes, albeit it could have been a former employer. So I need to go away and check that and do my due diligence. So that's something to think about as well. So definitely gather them, but bear in mind that any employer really is going to be kind of getting onto those and checking them as well. So I hope that helps. Just take some time to think about your references, think about who you're putting down, and make sure you're polite and you ask them. They're absolute key criteria for anyone doing any employment, and so it's really important that they're going to be a true and fair reflection of you. That's it from me this week. I'll be back next week with another video on anything and everything to do with nannying, childcare and children.